Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Below Deck, Season 8, Episode 5, Champagne Wishes and Caviar Screams. You guys, I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to get into this episode. I want to talk about what happened. I want to talk about which of the cast I like, which of the cast not so much, and who's bugging me. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives in New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. Okay, so this episode picks up where we left off. They haven't picked up the guests yet. They're in Antigua and, Shane decided to take himself a nap, which normally wouldn't be a big deal except for he's working and he didn't tell his boss. Whoopsie. And he goes to put on sunscreen, finds Shane napping. Yeah, you can imagine how that goes. So let's talk about this. Shane would be tough. Shane would be tough to work with. Shane seems like a nice guy, but I don't know about his work. I don't know. But Eddie's kind of, I like Eddie. I'm enjoying having Eddie back on my screen, but I can see where he doesn't communicate all that well. And we're definitely going to get into Francesca's lack of communication, but Eddie, right off the bat, he's just mad. I mean, I know it's not his job to wake him up, but friggin' wake him up. I'd wake him up and yell at him and fire him or, make him do the grunt work for a while. Whatever it is, just wake him up. It's better than holding this grudge and not saying anything. So that seems to be Eddie's MO right now. Okay, so they're having this preference sheet meeting because these guests are about to get on board. And Rachel's excited because these people seem to like food and wine, and the 20-year-olds last time, no offense, 20-year-olds, they didn't appreciate all the work she had put into it. So she's excited. The guests are celebrating their 50th birthday. They're trying to get this caviar in. Steel drum. There you go. So then we go into Francesca. I call her Fran in my notes, so I'll probably call her Fran, but you know who I mean. Francesca and Elizabeth. Let's talk about this. What are your thoughts? I wanted to like Francesca. I mean, Elizabeth is a little goofy. I think she's a little flighty, I guess is the word, not goofy. Just different. But I don't blame Elizabeth. That's just her personality. Francesca is supposed to be in charge, and I don't think Francesca is doing a great job. Her communication sucks. We find out later, especially with Rachel, her communication sucks. And she kind of seems all over the place, a little bit frazzled. Whereas Kate was very clear and concise and let everybody know what was on her mind. Francesca's a little bit harder to read. I notice even when she talks, she says things like, do you see this as a little bit of a mess? I'm not even going to try to do Australian accent. I love my Australian people in the comment. I'm not going to do that to you. I love your accent. I'm not going to butcher it. Okay. She's like, do you see this a little bit of a mess? And then she says, we can do this tomorrow. No, just get it done. That way, if it's bugging you, you won't resent Elizabeth over it. She won't resent you over it. Okay. Moving on. So, they're getting ready for these guests to get on. They're having the stew meeting here. And again, Francesca, she's going over this fancy dinner for guests. She says, I don't know. I'm just not into Francesca. I guess that's why I'm hesitating a little bit. I'm trying. I'm not into her. She wants to be with the guests for service. She even says, if something needs to be put on the table, bring it to me first. But then she kind of gets annoyed when people bring her things. So I'm not sure she has a clear direction of her management style. Now, I'm with her. This would bug me. I hate this mess. And I think Elizabeth is just that's just her MO. She's just messy, and that's whatever. So they're just not communicating right. And I mostly blame Francesca for it. We got Eddie and Shane. Shane's telling Eddie he wants to do a good job and asking for a list. And again, Eddie's not doing, Eddie's a boss. You probably should. Shane should have respected him more, not taken a nap. He should have gone to him and talked to him or figured something out. I don't know, but Eddie just seems a little crotchety this season. I'll just say that. The provisions arrive. The guests are getting ready to get on the boat, and Izzy. I like Izzy. I've heard other people say they don't like how brash she is. It doesn't really bother me. She's talking about camel toe here. The captain's hitting himself in the head with a radio. It's kind of funny. I just like Izzy's upbeat attitude, and anything you tell her, she's like, yeah, I'm on it. I got it. Okay, so they're getting the luggage. A lot of things happened this episode, by the way. I should mention that. A lot of nothing happened. I enjoyed the episode, don't get me wrong, but there was about a million scenes I tried to take notes on, like Shane distributing luggage. And then the deck crew says he doesn't know who's in what room, so he doesn't know what to do. But then nothing ever comes of that. So I take all these little notes that seem all over the place, but that's what's happening. But then they never really circle around to it. So Rachel makes this beautiful meal. And let's talk about Rachel for a second. She makes this beautiful meal of crab and this whole mess of stuff. It looks delicious. Okay. I'm actually with the guests on this one. She plated it weird. I understand that when you're this expensive on a vacation, you probably do want interesting plating styles, and it's about the look as much as the taste and everything else. But I didn't love how she plated that. I actually understood what they were saying. They thought something else was going on the plate. They didn't quite understand it. But they did ask if the crab was from a can, I think, and so that set things off wrong. Get to see a little bit more tension building between Elizabeth and Francesca. And I don't really blame Elizabeth here. I should, but she's doing what she thinks is right. She's trying to set the table. She's asking which glasses to pull. Anytime she asks Francesca something, Francesca seems annoyed. But I don't think that's a great way to work. So Jessica gets... I always call her Jessica. Elizabeth gets upset and goes to FaceTime her friend and saying she's getting strange criticism from the chief. I honestly think it's just a clash of personalities. Elizabeth is much more laid back and easygoing about things and not uptight about mess, whereas Francesca is uptight, but I don't think Francesca's as organized as she thinks she is. Meanwhile, we get Shane writing a letter. I'm not real sure what this was about. This is another one of those scenes I thought, is he giving this to Eddie? But I'm guessing maybe it'll come up in the next episode. I'm not sure. But he's writing out this thing saying he's messed up and not prepared himself for this job. He's in a psychological battle with the boat. Yeah. Francesca pages Rachel to tell her the guests are seated for dinner. And Rachel says, copy that. I'm ready to F this dinner in the A. And Francesca doesn't know how to handle that. She says, okay, thank you. Now let's talk about Rachel some more. I might be alone in this, but I actually really like Rachel. I like watching her. I find her hilarious. She talks how I talk. She says crazy things. Yeah, you probably shouldn't say that on radio, but who cares? I thought it was so funny. She's just trying to do a good job and provide good meals, and I just like her, and I feel for her, and I'd be pissed at Francesca too, because again, Fran didn't have her shit together, and poor Rachel's done all this work, and she can't, like we see later in the beach picnic, she can't get it out. So that stinks. I feel for her. I actually really liked her this episode. I'm enjoying watching her this season. The meal looked delicious. I am going to need a little bit more dessert than that. It looked fantastic. It's infused with lavender. I want to eat it, but I need more. So we see Shane staying up later than everybody else. So I think, oh, he's doing a good job. Then they show that flash to that open door and play some ominous music, and you know it's not gone well. So the next morning, Eddie goes out and he notices it and he freaks out. And he says, today is the effing day that I freaked the F out. So we do see later Shane seems to not know he should have closed the door. So maybe that's a little bit on Eddie. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there. Shane does seem like a dodo. So Maybe Eddie told him, maybe ignored it. I don't know. But I think I'm holding Eddie and Francesca to the same standard. They're in the leadership. They need to communicate better. I do blame Shane way more than I blame Elizabeth, because Shane would be hard to work with, especially the disappearing to take a nap. I don't care about the nap. It's the not thinking about the consequences in the team that shows a lot about Shane. I don't think Elizabeth is that blatant when she disrespects Francesca. So that's my thought on that. Shane tells the captain about leaving the door open. I was kind of surprised to see that. I guess it's better for him to tell him than Eddie to tell him. The captain says, when you go home in your house, do you shut your door at night? And he ends up walking off calling him a dumbass. That's my Captain Lee impression. We got Izzy, Eddie, Aisling, and Shane. They all go set up a beach picnic for the guests. Rachel is stressed because poor thing is going to do a beach picnic, but also a multiple course birthday dinner. Now, here's my thing on this. She did the most beautiful looking food. I want to eat everything that Rachel makes. But did you notice she goes to the beach picnic and is slicing her meat and stuff? And that's fantastic. You want that in a chef. But think about all the times Ben would send over all these dishes. All the chefs, they usually don't go, right? They stay behind. Especially in this case, if you have a multiple course meal going out, wouldn't you stay behind to work on? I'm not faulting her for going. I'm just saying, like, maybe that would have helped to get ready for the multiple course dinner that night and made a little less confusion. Just my thinking there. So Rachel's pissed because she's running behind on her food prep. She asked Francesca to help, and Fran's like, okay, sure, but let me go check on the guests. Understandable. But again, she's kind of scatterbrained. Maybe have one of your other stews check on the guests while you help, or maybe have another stew help Rachel, something. Rachel is doing the food, so I think she should be, guests are your first priority, but Rachel should be your priority right out after the guests. So I understand why Rachel was frustrated. She made this beautiful meal, and nobody's helping her pack it up. It ends up being Izzy that goes to help her pack up. Again, I dig Izzy. She's good. She seems like she's got a great work ethic. So this cracked me up because on the way in the boat, Francesca's saying, oh my God, I want to go for a swim. And Rachel says, oh my God, I want to punch somebody in the face. Again, I love Rachel. All right, so the guests are happy. Shane is frustrated, saying Eddie thinks I'm dumber than I actually am. Guests go back on the boat. Fran and Rachel go to the dinner menu. Rachel's looking for the caviar, and here we go. Can't find it, says she might murder someone. She had some of the funniest sayings. She's like mumbling angrily, I'm going to murder somebody. She sounds like Captain Lee. Shane asks if he can help, and Rachel says, I will slit someone's throat if they haven't sent this. I'm not joking right now. I'm not nice right now. So I don't think that was aggressive towards Shane. I think she was just frustrated, and that's how she's venting. The episode ends with her saying, I'm going to punch someone in the scrotum. Nice. So then we get a flash to next episode. It looks like Elizabeth and Francesca are continuing to have problems. Something about Elizabeth on service. The guests were kind of complaining. We see the guests have a drinking contest with the captain, which looks pretty fun. Then we see Shane messing up again. He's not on deck. His phone died. Eddie calls him out for this, and then we see Captain Lee having a meeting with Eddie and calling Shane to the bridge. So I don't know how it's going to go, but I can't imagine he's going to stick around that much longer after all this. Whoopsie. Well, guys, that is it for the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I love talking about Below Deck. It's so much fun. Check out my other shows. I'm covering all kinds of stuff right now. Real Housewives of Miami. Just finished The Undoing. So good. If you haven't watched that, check that out. Doing all kinds of stuff. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is on fire. So if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to watch it because I was skeptical too, but it's fantastic. So thank you guys so much for everything. I really appreciate it. If you want to support the show, check out my Patreon. I'm covering Scary Island right now and all kinds of fun episodes from season 3 of New York, like the greatest season. So much stuff happened that season. It's so much fun to go over. But thank you guys for everything. I hope you have a fantastic week. Leave me comments below. I love the comments. I read them all. And thank you for everything. You can find me on Twitter at Real Recaps. And I hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.